Thank you for tuning in. This is Lance, your host of Strange Bites, where we take real science and wrap it up in a creative story and serve it in 15 minutes or less. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app. Give me a follow on social media. And now, let's jump into the next bite. It's 3 a.m. in a basement lab in Birmingham, England. The corridors are silent. Most of the building is asleep. But in one dimly lit room, Professor Giovanni Barontini is wide awake, staring into a bottle. Floating in the center of this apparatus is a ghostly, glowing cloud. Not smoke or plasma, but 24,000 rubidium atoms, chilled to a few billionths of a degree above absolute zero. So cold that the atoms have stopped behaving like individuals. They've merged into one single quantum entity. What physicists call a Bose-Einstein condensate. This is episode 45, The Night Time Emerged. Imagine every atom losing its own identity and becoming part of one giant cooperative ghost. Barontini and his team have sealed this tiny cloud inside a hermetically closed system. Nothing from the outside world is supposed to touch it. No external clock, no outside ticking. Just the atoms and whatever rules they decide to follow inside their private little cosmos. And then he does something strange. He splits the cloud in two using carefully tuned laser beams. Walls made of light. On one side, the brighter sector, the part he and his detectors can watch. On the other side, the dark sector, hidden from direct observation. The atoms are free to hop back and forth between these two realms. What happens next changes everything we thought we knew about time itself. You see, most of us grow up thinking time is like the air, always there, always flowing in one direction from past to future. Clocks just measure it. But a deep problem in physics has haunted scientists for decades. When you try to combine quantum mechanics with gravity and the shape of the entire universe, something breaks. The famous Wheeler-DeWitt equation describes the cosmos as whole, and it has no time variable in it, no t for time. The universe, at its deepest level, appears timeless. So where does the time we experience come from? Barontini decided to build a miniature test version of that question. Inside his sealed quantum system, the atoms begin to move. Some drift from the bright side to the dark. Some come back. Every time the distribution of atoms changes, every time the messiness, the disorder, and entropy shifts, something remarkable occurs. Time starts to emerge. Not from a clock on a wall, not from any external watcher, from inside the system itself. Physicists are calling it entropic time. Entropy is the universe's built-in tendency towards greater disorder. Your coffee cools, your room gets messier, stars burn out. It almost never runs backwards. That one-way street gives time an arrow. In Barontini's mini-universe, when the atoms spread and reshuffle, entropic time flows forward. When the distribution stays perfectly still, time effectively stops for the system. The bright region even begins expanding and contracting in cycles. Tiny echoes of a big bang followed by a big crunch repeated every fraction of a second. And here's the part that makes your skin prickle. The team could reconstruct the entire sequence of events using only information from inside the mini-universe. No lab clock required. The atoms themselves were keeping time through their own changing disorder. Professor Barontini put it this way. This study provides the first controlled experimental evidence that time can be defined by changes within a system, rather than the external ticking clock we think of as time. Let that sink in. Time didn't need a watchmaker. It needed change. It needed things to happen. It needed mess. In our everyday world, we experience time as relentless and one-directional. But the laws of physics at the smallest scales are mostly time symmetric. They work the same forwards and backwards. So why do we feel the arrow? Barontini's experiment suggests the arrow is born the moment a closed system allows entropy to increase and information to flow. Observation itself, the bright sector, seemed to play a role in turning potential into sequence. Now zoom out. If this holds up, it offers a laboratory window into some of the biggest mysteries in existence. The birth of our own universe, the behavior of black holes, where time and space get mangled at the singularity, the strange possibility that time is not a fundamental ingredient of reality, but something that crystallizes out of quantum relationships and increasing disorder. Imagine building quantum computers or simulators that use entropic time instead of ordinary clocks. Or rethinking what now even means in a universe that might be part of a larger timeless quantum state. But the deepest questions aren't just for physicists. If time is something that emerges when things change and disorder grows, what does that say about a life well lived? Every choice you make, every connection, every mistake that forces you to adapt, those are the moments entropy increases inside your personal system. Those are the moments time becomes real for you. The days that blur together are the ones where nothing new happens, where the distribution of your experiences stays static. Maybe that's why boredom feels like time standing still, and why intense experiences, love, grief, discovery, terror, make time stretch or compress so dramatically. Your internal entropy is spiking. What if consciousness itself is one of the brightest sectors in the cosmos? The part of reality that watches the atoms dance and by watching helps turn raw change into living time. And what about the future? If we ever build true artificial general intelligence, will it experience time the same way? Or will it discover entirely new forms of entropic time we can't yet imagine? If we one day manipulate entropy at cosmic scales, could we influence the arrow of time itself? Not by traveling through it, but by changing the conditions that give birth to it. Barontini's tiny cloud of frozen atoms didn't just solve a technical puzzle. It held up a mirror to the oldest human questions. Why does anything happen at all? Why does one moment follow another? And who or what gets to decide when the story begins and ends? Next time you look at a clock, remember this. That steady ticking might be an illusion we all agree on. The real time, the time that matters, might be born in the quiet moments when things inside you shift, when disorder increases, when something new becomes possible. In a basement lab in Birmingham, 24,000 atoms just proved that time can be invented from within. The question is no longer what time is it? It's what are we going to do with the time we get to create? That's it for today's bite. I really do appreciate you listening. If you enjoyed this show, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast app, share with a friend, and until next time, stay strange and question everything.